Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com. Here with a little editorial. Um, the purpose of this video is really to empower boxing fans. Here online we have a real great community, not just the people who follow my videos, but the great shows online, On the Grind Boxing, The Truth Boxing, all the great websites online, Boxing Scene, many others, boxinginsider.com. There's a vibrant community, and we really do need to call out traditional media when they start catering a bit too much to promoters and stop catering to fans like us. Boxing, as we all know, is political, and unfortunately the sport sometimes gets ahead of itself, and when it does, I hope all of us online, I hope many of the viewers watching this video will make other videos and really demand and get these boxing media outlets to actually do the right thing and honor the sport. Now, something has my goat this morning. One of the best fighters in the world, a fighter who certainly belongs in the same sentence with Manny Pacquiao, who he wants to fight, Floyd Mayweather, who he wants to fight, Nonito Donaire, Andre Ward, is 36-year-old Sergio Martinez. Now, all Martinez has done of late is to fight top-shelf competition and to beat that competition convincingly, including one of the knockouts of the year, a second-round stoppage of Paul Williams. Right? Martinez has taken on the best. He wants to continue to take on the very best. What the WBC has done is, and this can only happen in boxing, is they have taken a great champ and they have moved him up to something they call their emeritus champion, right? It's a super champion, right? They've made Sergio Martinez their super champion, right? Just like Felix Sturm is a super champion for another division, and just like the WBA recently made Vladimir Klitschko a super champion. What that has done is it's made it ridiculous, where two other guys then fought for the WBC middleweight championship. And the way the rules are written, the emeritus champion should be able to, at any time, demand a fight with whoever has won the championship that they were stripped of. Right? So you have situations where Vitaly Klitschko came out of retirement and immediately had the right to fight Sam Peter. Right? Theoretically, Vladimir Klitschko can demand to fight the winner of Alexander Povetkin versus Ruslan Chagayev. Right? These super champions, you would hope, would demand to fight the regular champion, so we have a boxing match of the highest order. Right? What could possibly be a more prestigious fight for the WBC than their super champion Sergio Martinez fighting their regular champion Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.? Right? That would be boxing at the best for the WBC at the middleweight division. No argument can be made that that fight would be anything other than championship level for that sanctioning body. Now, Sergio Martinez, who seems to be at odds with the mysterious powers that be behind the curtain, Sergio Martinez has announced that he wants to fight the regular champion, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Right? He's announced that if he beats Darren Barker, his next opponent, he wants to fight Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Right? His first choice would be to fight Manny or Floyd. But since Manny has moved back down and is fighting against Marquez at a lower weight, and since Floyd is tied up with Victor Ortiz, the southpaw, and might fight Manny Pacquiao in the fight after that, Martinez wants the next best opponent, the regular WBC champion, right? The guy who's the highest ranked at middleweight other than himself by the WBC. Now, incredibly, in full disclosure here, I'm a long time HBO subscriber. I'm a long time Showtime subscriber. I'll watch fights wherever I can get them. So I've watched fights on ESPN, I've watched fights on USA Network, I've watched fights online. I enjoyed the Ricky Hatton recent card here on YouTube, right? Incredibly, HBO, with whom Sergio Martinez has a contract, one of their executives, Kery Davis, incredibly has announced that he doesn't want to see a Martinez versus Chavez fight because Chavez isn't ready. You know, I just have a question for Mr. Davis. Are you serving Chavez's promoter or are you serving boxing fans? Are you trying to tell us that a fight between the WBC super middleweight champion and its current champion, right, champion emeritus, and its regular champion, both current, isn't a great fight? I mean, style-wise, isn't that one of the best fights that can be made? Chavez Jr. is unbeaten. Shouldn't he be tested by the current emeritus champion? Not only that, you know, Sergio Martinez is something like 5 years older than Manny Pacquiao. He's 36 years old. Shouldn't we get the opportunity to see him while he's in his prime, before he becomes 38, 40, 42 years old? I mean, he wants to fight the best right now. Isn't there some urgency with that? What is HBO doing by telling us that any current champion isn't prepared to fight a mandatory opponent? You have got to be kidding me. Let me just say, too, that Chavez Jr. is trained by Freddie Roach. I think Freddie Roach knows a little bit more about boxing than these TV execs who operate out of the comfort of their air-conditioned studios. Now, if you go online, you're going to see that Freddie Roach, in interviews with On the Grind Boxing a few months ago, and these are uploaded by Amish Sugar, and let me point out, On the Grind Boxing, for those who don't know, is an excellent podcast. They are trying to serve boxing fans, right? That's their allegiance. And Freddie Roach, in a video that's uploaded on YouTube by YouTube user Amish Sugar on February the 7th of 2011, basically says that he believes that Chavez Jr. would take Sergio Martinez, right? This was at a time, by the way, when Sergio Martinez was openly campaigning to fight Manny Pacquiao, who actually had the belt at 154. You remember Pacquiao beat Antonio Margarito. I know they fought at a catchweight of 150, but that was for the belt at 154 pounds. So Martinez was basically saying, hey, I want to fight the best. Manny Pacquiao is a champion at 154. I want to fight him. Keep in mind, Martinez would have to lose weight for that fight. He was willing to do it. Freddie Roach, of course, at the time then says, hey, Martinez would lose to my other fighter, Chavez Jr., right? A little bit of misdirection there. Well, my point is this. If Freddie Roach believes or believed that Chavez Jr. at one point was ready for Sergio Martinez, then I'd like to know why any TV exec wouldn't want to give us that fight or would try to convince us that a reigning champion, Chavez Jr., isn't ready to fight mandatory opponents. This is ridiculous. This is the kind of, by the way, environment that gives us champs, granted he's talented, but gives us champs like Saul Alvarez, when Saul Alvarez hasn't fought Victor Ortiz, hasn't fought Alfredo Angulo, hasn't fought Kermit Citron, hasn't fought James Kirkland. They gave him the belt at 154 after a fight against Matthew Hatton. And now we're hearing that he needs to be coddled. Let me just say, if you aren't ready to fight your mandatory opponents, you shouldn't be with a belt. Don't hit us with this nonsense of, I'm a champ. Why even accept the belt in the ring if you aren't going to take on opponents like Sergio Martinez, who your own sanctioning body is telling us is the champion emeritus? Let me just point out, too, that Kery Davis, really, you should feel embarrassed. People pay money to subscribe to HBO. You're now going to make decisions for us to coddle existing champions? Let's hope that if that's the situation, then you're giving fighters under contract to you like Sergio Martinez outs where he can then go to a different network to fight the reigning WBC champion, right? A mandatory opponent, right? I mean, that's, all I'm saying is, what is HBO doing? I know the station is in flux. I understand that Ross Greenberg left the station. I know there are allegations that the station is overpaying for certain fighters and has too cozy a relationship with certain powers that be in boxing. All I'm saying is this. I'm a boxing fan. I don't care what the politics are. If you're telling me that, a reigning champion isn't ready to defend against the champion emeritus, I'm expecting to hear those excuses from his promoter. I'm expecting champions who don't want to fight mandatories to give up their belts, right? When you don't fight a mandatory, you're in danger, like Jurgen Bramer was, of being stripped, right? The sanctioning body should strip the champion. HBO shouldn't intervene and strip boxing fans of an opportunity to see a great fight. So let me just sum up. HBO, Showtime, ESPN, all of y'all need to realize that you work for boxing fans, not boxing promoters or boxing managers or even the fighters. If Chavez Jr. doesn't want to fight the mandatory opponent, who is the challenger emeritus, the super champion, in his own sanctioning body, then quite frankly, Chavez Jr. needs to take off that belt right now and give it to someone who's willing to really be a champion. Being a champion isn't about some piece of plastic, right? The only way any champion has legitimacy is if he's prepared to take on his mandatory opponents. And let me just say this about Freddie Roach. When Martinez wanted to fight Pacquiao, Freddie Roach said that Chavez would beat him, right? The videos are up on YouTube. Now that Martinez wants to fight Chavez Jr., of course Freddie Roach is saying Peter Quillen would beat him. I'll just say fans need to realize that these boxing managers, they have agendas. Boxing trainers, they have agendas, right? What you need to do is look at the rankings, and you need to demand that these fighters fight the fights they're supposed to. The heavyweight division's such a joke that Alexander Povetkin was given an opportunity 2 years ago to fight the then champion Vladimir Klitschko, who wanted to fight him. Povetkin didn't take the fight. Teddy Atlas said he wasn't ready. Now, of course, Povetkin's getting to fight for Vladimir Klitschko's title without fighting Vladimir Klitschko, who's been elevated to champion emeritus. Let's see if HBO is silly enough to side with Povetkin. Thanks for watching.